Okay, so I do not want to be making this video right now, but here's what happened. So long story short, the car was running really lean for the past 2+ weeks, almost 3 weeks. And so I did the whole method of cleaning the sensors and the intake filter, readjusted everything. I even got a new intake filter. Here's the old one compared to the new one right here. So I did some testing in the background. I put everything together, adjusted the intake, and the numbers looked a little better, but the issue was that it was still running very lean. I decided to dig deeper into the issue, and so this is where we're at now. Basically everything is disassembled, and what I found, oh man, just made my gut drop, and I'll show you guys right now. We go under here, and as I'm looking around, I expected maybe a vacuum hose to be loose, but no. Here is what I found. See right there, once it focuses, right there. So that is that's not good. You guys can see the turbine is missing a few pieces, and that's probably why it was running like crap. Alright guys, so I'm making this video because I feel like I owe you guys an update on what's been going on with the car. The clip that you just saw before this was from a few weeks back. I thought I was going to take it to a shop, get it properly diagnosed, and then have it repaired there just for convenience purposes. But I changed my mind and I decided to just go ahead and try to tackle this one on my own. That's why it's on the jacks, and at this point the car is inoperable. So let me start by telling you guys exactly what the issue is. You guys see the stock turbo right here and a whole bunch of other parts. It's just everything's disassembled. You got the heat shield there, the headers, intake, charge pipe, and just intercooler and battery just everywhere. So there's a lot of parts here, and I did my best to kind of just organize everything, but this is the issue that I found. So if you guys can see that, here, let me get a flashlight. If you guys can see that right there, the compressor wheel is basically damaged. I don't know what could have gotten in there through the intake, but bottom line is this thing is damaged and it needs to be repaired or replaced. I'll get into that. Yeah, so like I said, the car is disassembled. I took as much as I could off, and the reason for that is because I wanted to see if I could find the missing pieces of the wheel. Just a bunch of research shows that they typically end up in the intercooler. This is the Process West cooler, the top mount intercooler, and I could not find anything in here. My next step is to deep clean this thing. I think brake cleaner works, so I might try that next step, but there's nothing in here from what I could tell. And I even used a little compressor for some air to blow things out, or nothing in there. I even replaced the spark plugs, and then I got a borescope camera, put a camera down there to look at these cylinders, see if there's any scoring or any damage. Everything looked fine. So at this point, either the pieces passed through the system or they never got there. And my other guess is that they're probably stuck, I don't know, here in the middle of the twin scroll turbo. I'm not sure, but yeah, the other side, the hot side, is clean. So there's no damage to that side. So at this point, I'm just gonna let it go, get it put back together, and then hope for the best. So yeah, like I said, everything is taken apart. I have the pieces and the lines to the turbo here. I even checked all of this. So far, no clogs. I might go ahead and replace this stuff right here. I'm not too sure yet. I'll just have to cross that bridge when I get there. So you guys might be wondering why I don't go bigger turbo. And believe me, I was close to buying a Boost Lab turbo with fuel pump, even headers, everything else needed, any supporting mods needed to be able to run that turbo. But then before I hit place order, I decided to research my J-pipe, the Grimspeed V1, to see if I'm able to get tuned. So mind you, the car has its TGV and EGRs deleted. I had no problem reinstalling those things, but it was the retuning that was going to be the issue for me. So at this point, I think I was already at almost 3,000 for the headers and the turbo and the fuel pump. That's not counting any new gas kits or anything like that. So I was already at $3,000, and then found out that I'd have to get the new V2 GESI J-pipe pipe in order to get retuned. Add another grand to that, plus retune, possibly labor. I'm looking at close to $4,000 or $5,000 to get this car back up and running. And that's if my tuner is able to tune me, which I called and they said they couldn't do anything about it. And I didn't want to take that chance. You know, I didn't want to drop $4,000 to $5,000 just to have them say they can't tune me. Yes, I could get retuned, but chances are I'll have a check engine light, and if you have a check engine light, you won't be able to pass emissions. So I wasn't going to go through that whole process just to fall flat on my face and spend more money trying to be compliant. So what I decided to do is just get an OEM turbo, slap that back into the car, and just get it running that way. That's the most cost-effective route for me. And yes, I would like more power, but at this time, because of the whole green speed update, I can't. So I'm gonna leave that alone, and I decided to just get another OEM turbo. So quick story on the turbo, I did source one from eBay. I'll put some pictures up here so you guys can see, but I had to return it. The guy said, I guess he's a shop that's been selling on eBay since 2002. I asked him a whole bunch of questions before I purchased the turbo. He said that yes, it's remanufactured, everything is working properly, but when I got the damn thing, I kid you not, it looks like all he did was paint the turbo housing, and it's just a sloppy job. I asked him specifically, is the compressor wheel brand new? And judging by the photo that you guys see, no, that's not new. So at that point I was just pretty irritated and I decided to return it. But yeah, when I checked the cylinder right here where the compressor wheel is, he actually got paint in there, and so I would have to spend more time, possibly more money, cleaning it up just to install it to my car. But I wasn't going to install it that way. I felt like it was already hitting the housing just from the excess paint that was in there, but that's over and done with. The turbo's been returned, and now I'm going to tell you guys what my next step is. So the reason for the bubble wrap is because I actually reached out to SoCal Porting. I decided to use their services to go ahead and repair this one right here. Everyone talks about these guys, and I think that they'll do a great job of repairing it. No, I'm not gonna get this thing bored out. Just again, I can't get retuned. I don't wanna risk it. So what I'm gonna have them do is just open this thing up, replace the compressor wheel, basically anything else that's damaged. I'm gonna have them fix it and then rebalance it and then have it ready to install on the car. Just another lesson learned for me is cheapest isn't always the best. SoCal Porting's prices to repair cost just as much as what I paid for on that quote-unquote reman turbo that was not reman. So I should have just hit them up the first time, and you know, the car could have been running by now. But you live and you learn. So I'm gonna ship this out as soon as I can. Everything's basically taken apart from it, all the lines, hoses, there's nothing else here. I got the oil sump right here, so it's just a bare turbo. And I did ask them if I can ship it with the actuator, the internal actuator right here, and they said yes, just ship everything out, including the studs and stuff like that. So that is where we're at right now with the turbo. Like I said, I'm trying my best to just piece everything out, and I want this thing running perfectly, and I'll replace whatever I have to. But if I could save some money on that part, then that'd be great. But I don't want to risk anything, because this is a stressful process for anyone who's not done it before. It was pretty stressful, which leads me to why I even looked into it. So before even discovering that the turbo went bad, I actually had a video going on me trying to diagnose what the issue was on the car. So usually the car runs a little rich, and that's usually fine, but this time around, for some weird reason, it ran extremely lean. So it was adding a whole bunch of fuel to the point where a check engine light popped up, and I knew I had a serious issue on my hands. Whatever I did, it wasn't working, and so I had to look deeper into the issue. So that's when I decided to take everything apart, and my heart absolutely sunk when I saw the missing pieces of the turbo compressor wheel. I'm doing absolutely everything I can from the garage, and I want to get this thing back up and running, because I miss driving it. It's been 3+ weeks, almost a month since it was running fine. But yeah, so this is what we're dealing with now. Every time I look at it, it's just, I'm more motivated to fix it than anything. I've never tackled a job like this on my own. For me, it's a learning process. If I can learn something from it, then yes, I'm all about that. That way I can possibly help others, or if it happens again, I know exactly what to do. That's all the updates that I have for now, and this is the reason why I haven't been driving the WRX. So yeah, I'm gonna get this thing shipped out to SoCal Porting, and then I guess I'll make another video of whenever this thing gets back to me for repairs, assuming they can repair it. I'm hoping it's possible. And before I close out today's video, I wanted to give a huge shout out to the folks that I've been constantly bothering about the turbo issues. You guys know who you are, and I really appreciate your guys' help and all the information you guys provide. I know I turn into a spaz whenever something bad like this happens, but I'm just trying to get as much info as I can. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Better yet, if you're one of the people who has blown a turbo, let me know if you found those compressor wheel pieces and where you found them. I'd really appreciate that info. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out. I'll see you guys when that turbo gets back from SoCal Porting. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon.